Living Adaptive.
The goal is to adapt and thrive despite the adversity you face.
You're going to have that little voice inside of you trying to push yourself.
I set a vision for myself and now I'm seeing it come to fruition.
I'm grateful for losing my leg.
There's just some things you must endure in life.
You might crash. You might fail.
You can find a purpose in your suffering.
I'm not special. I've just decided that I'm not going to stop.
You do everything you possibly can.
We want to change the world.
I'm going to adapt to it and make it the way it works for me.
Take what it is from life that you want and enjoy it.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is Living Adaptive, and I'm Scott Davidson. And we have Jeremy Ogle, athlete, and from You Adapt. He runs that nonprofit too. And so we got him on, but real quick, just so you know, go to livingadaptive.com for previous show notes, guests, all the good shit there, and also our social media accounts, and all those are found in the show notes, so you can click that below. And same with contact information for our guest today, Jeremy Ogle. Jeremy, man, just so people know, I consider you one of my closest friends in this community, man. And so you've been really good to me. So there's going to be a lot of insider knowledge into you today in this interview. And before we jump into it, man, I know that right now we're in the heart of this coronavirus thing, and it's man, it's kicked your ass for a lot of stuff you wanted to do, man. What happened? What are you going to do now?
So I was supposed to I had a Spartan race. I was going to do a trail race this upcoming weekend, canceled. I had another Spartan race, the Vegas race. That was going to be OCR type, canceled. The week after that, I had a 200-mile relay race, the Texas Independence Relay in Houston from Gonzales. That's canceled. And then the week after that, I had the Nike Los Angeles Half Marathon, and that's canceled. And as I would imagine, anything else after that, because it's amazing that I had anything lined up 4 weeks out, because that's extremely far for me. But those are all canceled. And then realistically, most likely, Paralympic trials will most likely be canceled. That was set for April. And then that's when we would all decide. That's when Team USA would decide after our performances who would make the final team to go to Tokyo to compete for Team USA in the Paralympics. And that most likely will be canceled as well. So.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff on my end too canceled. And I noticed I had a sore throat yesterday. So I kind of probably have coronavirus, I'm thinking. So I want to apologize to you as a rep from the Corona community that I'm sorry we got your shit canceled, man. Cause I could feel it. Now I'm freaking out.
It doesn't bother me. I've been sick since day one. So
yeah. It's so messy, man. It sucks. So much good shit's been canceled. So let's jump right into this, man. We posted out to social media. What questions do you have for you, Jeremy Ogle? What questions do people have for you? And I got a bunch of responses, and they started to stack up, and a lot of stuff overlapped in terms of the questions. And so we're going to jump right into this and just go through them and fire away. There's going to be a good 15 questions that I've narrowed it to, including my own questions. And just before we get there, man, people need to know you had a story in terms of the adaptive side that they can hear in your previous interview with me and pretty much everywhere else, from PBS to Fox Sports to everywhere. You're everywhere. So go look at that shit for the injury story. But we're going to dive into the first question that's actually prior to your injury. And somebody said, can you ask Jeremy, what was he like prior to accident? What was life like for him? Who was he as a person?
I'd say the biggest difference, I've mellowed out a lot more. I've always been an angry person, and I have no problem admitting it. I work every day tirelessly to try and to chill,
Yeah.
So I want to say everything was black and white to me before. It was either this or it was that. So I was just, I don't know. I've always been in a rush my entire life for no reason. Mm-hmm. I've just always put myself in a rush mentality. So I've always procrastinated too. Mm-hmm. I'm horrible. I lack self-discipline. I have to work really, really, really hard to stay disciplined. And I'll work out hard and I'll do things mentally, physically for like 2-3 weeks straight, and I'll be good. I'll be on record, hitting everything I want to hit. And then this past week, I'll get in a depressive slump and things, I'm just in my head too much. But it's way better now. So honestly, who I am now is who I was before. I'm just more like, I'm adding grays into my life now. And I'm learning to let things happen instead of trying to force things to happen. So
recently you had some kickback. You speak a lot about mental wellness, especially you'll talk about the moments of depression where it gets to the thoughts of suicide and so forth. And some people have like fired back and they've been upset about you speaking about that, but you definitely speak out a bunch about it, man. And so I think this is why the next question happened was, what was your darkest moment and what did you do to leave that darkest moment? I thought that was a really solid question.
I think my darkest moment was within my first 3 months post accident. I was a 27-year-old man, single, bachelor. I rode my motorcycle around the country for fun. I got to work on cell phone towers for fun. Everything I did was for fun. It had purpose, but I enjoyed it, Mm-hmm. So I was in love with the life that I had created, and I always have been. So now, while accident happens, you take all that away from me, and now I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? I have a child on the way. I'm going to be a single father from that start, So I just, it's kind of hard to pinpoint a certain thing, but I would say the number one thing was I was, as most parents are, worried how I was going to perform as a parent. You think of all the things that your parents did and that you would like to change, and that's not to say our parents did anything negative. Granted, our parents do things negative, but it's they do things they wish they could have done differently. As my daughter's only 4, and there's plenty of things I wish I would have done differently, but I'm doing them differently every day that, we go into this. So, I was just fearful if I was going to be like the dad I wanted to be. That was my biggest worry.
And then how'd you get out of that?
Getting out of it was kind of really easy. One of my biggest worries was I've never held a baby really in my life, maybe 2-3 times in 27 years. How am I supposed to hold my child fresh out of the womb of her mother with one arm? And it's one arm that was not what it is now, but no, all my fears and all my worries went away as soon as that nurse put her in my hand, like in my arm, and I held her. And we have photos of it and videos, and it's everything since then is just, I can do whatever the fuck I want.
You do pretty much whatever you want. And I think that a lot of the questions leaned up to trying to get into your mindset of who you are in that sense of the word. We're going to go light on this question. Actually, no, we're going to go heavy on the next one. If you could do anything in life, like considering everything, man, that accident was serious. And it wasn't just like, hey, accident's over, we start to recover now. You had surgeries, you had a bunch of shit go down afterwards. You had, opiates you had to kick out because of the pain medication for the treatment of this. You had a lot of shit that went down, and you had to go through that adversity and come out the other end. And now you're looking at the future, man. If you could do anything you wanted, what would it be?
I believe that I'm doing it right now. Like I'm walking. I'm not religious, but I think the term is like walking in your faith or something like that. I fully believe, and I listen to a lot of motivational speakers too. I'll cut out the music and get myself pumped up or remind myself. And I think the best thing about when I hear those speeches or watch the videos is everything that they're saying is literally how I live my life or what I preach to other people. And some of the phrases or things they've come up with are like world-renowned, world-known phrases and quotes are 2 words off of the things that I come up with my own head, with my words, the way I talk all funky or whatever. So I don't know. It's good for me. So I just want to help people. And I want to help people that want to help themselves. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, I feel they want help, but they're not willing to commit to adding to that. They don't want to be proactive in their own like journeys. So, and that's fine. You can't help everyone. I can't help everyone over here, but you or someone else may have a different approach that speaks to people in a different way, because I'm very much my own personality. And then I've learned to just chill and be like, well, you know what? I have a friend over here that does this.
Yep.
Or I have a friend that's more compassionate over here, because like I said, I'm trying to add in grays, so I'm still somewhat black and white. So it's like, nah, because I need to protect my mental. I will not lose what I've gained to help you if you're not willing to help yourself. But so I guess just to answer your question is, I just want to help people see and feel that what they are seeking in life is already within them. Like, you don't need to look further than outside of who you are to know what you're capable of and to see what you're capable of. So
what do you think they could do to actually, like, what's the first steps to actually get out there and start being self-reliant in that way, you know, like we're actually producing?
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough, and that's one that I'd probably think on. It's just because, I don't know. I feel like sometimes you can force people to do something, and they may be good at it, and they may do well at it. But if it's not what they want to do, it's not going to last. It's not going to stick. I think it's just one of those things, like when you know, like something has to like resonate within you, and then you just, you act on it. But until you're willing to act on it, nothing's ever going to change. You can have all the dreams in the world, but until you add action to them, they are just dreams. And that's, like I say, good intentions are nothing without actions. Because you can want to be the best person in the world, but if you're still a piece of shit, then you're a piece of shit. Like,
yeah, it doesn't change. Yeah, it doesn't. There's a question for you though, that I had outside of people. It's like, we heard a lot of your story about being a single father. If you watched your recent TV special, I covered you. You know, that segment where it covered you and what you're doing and climbing up Camelback for the 5 billionth goddamn time that week, dude. You gotta get some new trails. Yeah, you gotta get some new fucking trails, man. And no, I'm kidding. But like they covered it. But like, out of that special, there's a lot of talk about being a single father and competing, because you compete as a professional athlete. And what did you not get to share? What did not air about being a single father that you would have liked to have kind of shared with the world? What it's like to do all this and still balance that?
I want to say there'd be two things that I would touch on. The dark side. Because, I mean, I like to share as much of my life as possible as I can. Mm-hmm. I also understand, I could care less about protecting image, but there are some things that the mass majority of the world are not okay or ready to hear without judging or try to apply some sort of persecution to a person. Like I said, I'm an angry person. So when my daughter acts out at school now, very rarely, but if she does act out, she's taught to protect herself. But if she does something out of character, or if she's trying to be the bully, mm-hmm. I now come home after and I don't yell at her, and I talk to her, and I try to figure out how I played a part in that, because she is with me 24/7. So if every time she does something bad and I yell at her, whether it's a nice yell or a bad yell, I'm not doing anything. I've learned that I am not doing anything for that situation to make it better or to make the future better. I'm just making her fear getting yelled at. So now it's helping me to realize that I need to talk to her in a better way. And it's going to take a lot because I'm changing programming and I'm breaking cycles, and I'm sure my parents would have liked to break cycles too. And, I'm okay with telling it how it is, but, I also want people to know that, like, I had a great upbringing, I can say I don't want to be like my parents in this way. And some people are going to take it like my parents are horrible. No, my parents weren't horrible. It's just, I don't want to be like my parents in that way. but a lot of the good you see in me is because of my parents. They're each parts. So I wish that it just would have showed more or asked more about like the dark times. But that's not what sells. And it's tricky because you don't know how people are going to play to it. And next thing you know is we talk about some of the dark times. You know, I'm not beating my child, but talk about some of the dark times, you know, and some people will want to call child protective service on you for yelling at your child or for having a moment, you know? Yeah. It's like, we're human, bro. The second part is my family, my aunt, mainly my aunt, you know, not just to single her out or to put her up above anyone, but I would like to put my aunt above anyone because 3 years ago in January, figure of 17, I was told by Team USA reps that I should try sprinting, that I would excel at sprinting. So that's why I chased sprinting down the 100 and 200 and 400 meters, which is why I potentially am invited. Well, which is why I am invited to Team USA trials for the Paralympics. But anyways, I moved in with my aunt. I'm a single father. At that time, I wasn't working. And I lived an hour from any training facility where I would have gotten help. So I moved to Phoenix, more west to Phoenix, and moved in with my aunt, you know? And it's funny now to think about it because we joked about it, but it was like, you know, like you try and I was like, well, how long am I going to live here? And she's like, well, you just keep going after your goals, you know, and I'll help you however I can. So we were laughing, you know, 3 years ago that like this might turn into the Paralympics. Like, I'm like, that's 3 years from now. She's like, so? And it's funny that now 3 years later, I still live with my aunt and she still helps me as much as possible, even though Eloise is in school now. But I have those emails inviting me to Team USA trials. Like, so I don't know. It's just, that's a whole nother thing. But then also I wish, you know, like I could have got to talk more about my aunt and my family. Because it's not just me. They say it takes a village. Well, I got like 30 different villages. So. Yep.
It wasn't. Yeah, I've noticed that you speak a lot about your aunt too, and how important she is to you, and also about like how a lot of people have kept you like focused on don't sell out, man. Don't sell out. Keep going. You get a lot of opportunities to sell out, man. You could sell out for organizations, rep some shit. You know what I mean? What keeps you from just saying, man, I don't need it, and I can just be who I am. Like, what keeps you from selling out and having a little extra money or whatever, you know?
Money's never moved me. I'm thankful that that's just something that is never like, I've never been moved by money. I know it's, as far as me, it's a tool, it's a currency. And if you give me a 25% off discount from your protein powder with a 10% discount code to give to my friends that I'll make some sort of commission off of. One, I like to know things, and there's no way for me to sit there and know exactly who ordered with my code from the internet, from this and that. So
yeah, it's very iffy.
It's about trust, but then also I understand that these businesses that reach out to me are just trying to scrape up whatever they can as far as social media coverage or money by using my image and my personality and who I am. And I've always wanted not necessarily to work for myself, but if I'm not working with you, I have no desire to work for you. I'm not a pawn, and I hate when people use other people or things or just adaptive athletes or even coronavirus to sell goddamn hand sanitizer and toilet paper. Like, were you not wiping your ass before? Like, how all of a sudden, you know, just stuff like that. Like, I just like being my own person, and I like being able to use my voice. And if I partner with you, you're going to drop me when I start talking about suicide, suicidal thoughts. You know, these organizations way up that pay money or people are surprised by, like, my shorts, if I take off the emblem, you're never going to know who they are. But if I add on one little tiny emblem that costs 1 cent to make and 1 cent to heat on press, like, you all of a sudden think it's the world. Like, No, it literally means nothing. I wear clothes. I have not paid for clothes in probably years. Like, I get sponsors that send it, or I have whatever, but my sponsors, you don't see none of them in my bio of any of my links.
True.
I don't have to put you in my stories. I don't have to do this. To me, that's just selling out. I like being myself. I like being able to speak what I want to speak about. Like your buddy Travis said, like I'm not nobody's role model.
Yep.
Like, if anything, I would maybe sum it down to like I'm my daughter's, but I just want to put what I have out there, and if it can help you, then it can help you. If it can't, then it doesn't. Just keep scrolling or go whatever. Like,
speaking of kind of pressing the envelope, I gotta jump in here, man, and say, dude, you did a nude photo shoot. It was very artistically done. We got to go there. What first question is, how do I get offered a nude photo shoot, like an artistic version, not like a creepy uncle version, like a real deal, like an artistic version? How does that even come? Like, how did that arise?
One of my buddies, he's an amazing photographer. He does some pretty dope edits. Well, he put it out there that he wanted to do shoots, or he had a deal on shoots, and I'm always, whatever. And so many people have helped me, and I fully believe that you should invest in yourself and in your friends. Well, if your friends do things, you should at least give them a shot. Like, if it's not for you, it's not for you, I don't, no charity, but he does great work, and I like what he does, so it's like, let's see what happens. Well, like 3 or 4 months go by, and I finally tell him that, like I'm ready to do the shoot whenever. Like, what do you have in mind? I'm like, you're the artist. I don't really have any ideas because I'm so broad in everything that I do that we could do anything and it would work. Like, so, and I want to have fun. So I told him, I was like, you're the artist. Like, I'm a firm believer that you should let the artist do what the artist does. Like, because then it's not their creation. Like, I like your mind. I want to see what you want to do with me. He responds back with...
He wanted you naked, man.
Yeah, he's like, I got this idea of a mannequin's arm and you being naked. And I'm like, fuck it, let's do it.
If anybody knows you, that's 100% what you do. Easily.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, bro, like I'm 32. I'm a single father. Like, my daughter goes to school. Like, there's kids from my daughter's school and their parents who follow me. Because they'll talk to my daughter and they'll ask her, like, where she went, this and that. And it's, oh, you went here, and oh, you went snowboarding. Like, she's 4. And they're like, oh, she's going to have so much fun. I was like, she's been snowboarding since she was 3. Like, yeah, she's going to have fun. Like, this isn't, like, we do this. Like, we do things.
All right, this is a good segue. Actually, I'm going to go back to just real quick. Like, did any parents give you feedback, like your own or from the community? Like, hey, Mr. Ogle, you decided to do a nude photo shoot. What's that about?
So one thing that I love about all the parents who follow me and support me through either their own injuries or their children's injuries, they fully support me being who I am 100%. So, but I've gone to camps with kids, and I've done speeches, so, but these parents, like, they don't want someone fake. They want their child to grow up who their child wants to be, like, to be a person, So they fully support anything. And most of the moms are all about it. So,
Yeah. I just got that. Yeah, they are for sure. And by the way, if anybody hangs out with Jeremy at events, he's easily one of the more fun, kind of do crazy shit together. It's a good time. But like, let's jump into this though, man. You do go to events. Your daughter did start snowboarding at a young age. You're at a lot of things. Your kid sees a lot of things. And so she's exposed to a lot of pretty intense stories, man, especially in the adaptive community. And so, like, what do you tell her? What do you tell her about this adaptive world? What do you tell her about Dad's arm? What do you tell her about Casey's legs? What do you tell her about, whatever, like, what do you say?
As far as me, she's known, she's been, this isn't one of those crazy parent thing where she's been speaking since she was 1 and she's going to be a prodigy or this and that. She's just been speaking since she was almost 1.5. And she's been able to at least repeat and understand that daddy's arm was hurt in a motorcycle accident. In the beginning, it was bike. Daddy fell off his bike, and then, she learned motorcycle. Halloween at 2 years old, before 2 years old, she was chasing a butcher down the street because he had blood on his arms, and then like fake arms and legs hanging from his apron. And she's almost 2 years old, and she's chasing the dude.
Yeah.
Trying to get my arm back. Like,
Dude.
so, and honestly, like, I haven't prepped her or anything, as far as all the other people she sees in wheelchairs, missing legs, missing leg, arm, quadriplegics, paraplegics, CP, spina bifida, any of that. Have never once told her anything about it, and she does not ask. She sees them as the people they are, and that's it. So it's, if anything, she sees a cool contraption. She sees a cool wheelchair. She sees a cool leg, but she doesn't, ask, or it's not odd to her. And it kind of goes hand in hand with like that whole racism thing, like we're not taught racism, or you're taught racism. Most people.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I agree. Like in that realm, it seems like as long as they're kind of like raised around it and understand that it's just, that's the normal, and that's the normal it's going to be. Now that jumps into this next question, man. This one was one that was repeated actually, I think 3 or 4 different times from different people that messaged me, and they asked, like, in some word is pretty close to the idea of like, if you could change anything about the adaptive world, the adaptive community, what would you change?
Yeah. I'm just going to watch my followers go down.
I know. Oh, God.
I can care less either. Just so you know, it's not about your followers, it's about your engagements.
Yeah. 100%.
Not you.
Yeah, no, but 100%. It really is people listening.
I would say adaptive selling out. Most adaptives, and it's not even just adaptives. This correlates and coincides with just everyone. Selling out, because you're not doing anything but diluting and watering things down for the rest of us who are trying to make a change. And it's just, you're worth so much more than a 10% discount code, a story share. Like, I'll share your damn story, like, for free.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. Like, I wish that it was more of an actual, and it is. This just may be some individuals I've run into, but there are a lot of individuals on the top that people praise for absolutely no good reason. They do good things, but they also do very bad things, but you just choose not to see it, or they're out for themselves. Most adaptive athletes want to be the first to do this, to do that, so that way they can say they were the first to do this or do that, as if it's going to alter their life. You might get a few magazines to want to talk to you, or a few podcasts, but how does that ultimately change your life? What's up? This. Yeah. You have 2 hands, bro. You can move it.
Calling it out.
Asking me to move blueberries off the chair so she can grab the banana. Like, so, come here, please. I just wish that, I don't know. I think one of the biggest things about me being who I am and being myself, and not selling out, is because I'm a firm believer that you cannot take what is mine. What is meant to be mine will be mine. So if we go to like, I never compete against other people anymore. Like, if we go to compete, like, I love competing, and I'm there to do everything I can to make it look like you were just a lottery pick to be here. Mm-hmm. But in the end, like, when the timer goes off, like, if you're ahead of me and you win, then you win. Like, congratulations, all the power to you. But that doesn't take away from my my feats and everything that I did, my accomplishments to get to where I'm at, and my accomplishment. Like a first place or a second place or a 10th place does not define who I am. Like, you're not going to take me off of whatever, like, not high horse, like in a bad way, but where I'm at. Like,
yep. All right. I remember competing against you. You're very much like that. And I remember looking over, we're doing burpees, and I'm pretty fast on burpees, man. And I say this to everybody. I'm pretty fast. Like, I can get down and get up quick. You know, I got pop. I look over and I'm like 1 and you're like 3 and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, cause like your average human, I'm crushing in burpees. I just am. And I was like, Jesus. But yeah, you very much are like all about like, let's get down, let's compete. Then afterwards, everybody's good. You know, that's it. And you very much are about that idea of competing against oneself, which I think in the end is probably the best attitude, especially in this community and the adaptive world that we're in. I think it's helpful, you know, because then you get the chance to boost others and elevate others. The next question is that this one's kind of a simple question, but I guess it does lay credence to the idea of like, of you becoming this good competitor. Is how did you even get into the CrossFit OCR world, running world? Like, when did you say like, this is time, I'm going to be an athlete?
I started working out so that way I could hold my daughter for as long as possible. And it was, you know, just a static hold like this. And then one-handed burpees. You know, your arm gets tired. And not burpees, one-handed burps.
So much Spartan.
Burpees.
Yeah.
So I started working out at home so that I could be a little bit more self-confident when I went to the gym, because I've never been a confident person in the gym. I'm the guy that walks around, looks at machines, gets scared, and then goes to the treadmill and then just runs for hours.
Yeah.
And then leaves. So I started working out at home so I could at least get to the strength to where I could, you know, at least lift a barbell. It was like March 21st, 2016, first day in the gym. I got bored after 2 months of conventional, like traditional lifting. So then one day I saw someone doing Murph at a CrossFit gym online, and then I asked her about it, and she said, "Oh, she should come." So I think June 1st would have been like my first day at CrossFit. I loved it. And then 3 weeks later, an event called Rush Club, where they take athletes, and it's kind of like one-on-one CrossFit battles. Where they do adaptive athletes too. It actually just got restarted. So a friend from CrossFit got me to go to that. So June 16th or 17th, 2016, I met Aldridge Logan, Zach Pitbull Rule.
Sure. Yep.
Vanessa Cantu, and a few other athletes. So I met them there. They asked me, we were in like a workout group the day before the event, and they asked me if I wanted to work out with them. So I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So did the workout with them. Logan showed me, like, kind of took me under his wing, showed me some trips, tips and trips. So, Then I just started doing CrossFit, and then I started doing adaptive CrossFit, and then within a year from that, I started traveling. I started doing workouts, and then I got into Spartan. Chris Biggs, he's out at the Adaptive Training Foundation. He trained there. He was the class 6, and I was class 7. So I met him there while training through class 7. While towards the end of it, I was supposed to go to a CrossFit comp with Vanessa over in Maryland for Crossroads Adaptive Athletic Alliance. While I decided, I kind of got scared a little, but then it wasn't really my thing. I wasn't too into it. Chris mentioned to me doing the Dallas Spartan Beast, so I bailed on Maryland, and Chris signed me up to do it with him in Operation Enduring Warrior. Yeah, my first ever Spartan was a beast with one arm. But I was invited to by a below-the-knee amputee to go run it with more amputees and fucked up people. So, physically and mentally.
More mentally.
Yeah, all of us. That's what makes us move.
Yep.
So I mean, and then from there, like I saw not necessarily what the platform was, but the CrossFit has a very big community, and OCR has a very big community. And I just, I'm always constantly seeking like new homes. I'm a gypsy. My mom, everyone knows it. I'm always on the move. I'm never too long in one place, and I'm never too attached to certain things. And I'm just a minimalist. Like I just like being on the move, and the world's too damn small to be staying in one place. Like,
yeah, you never do. There's three more questions I got to get across before we even consider closing up, because like I want to squeeze these in for sure. And it deals with the idea of like, first one is like, if you could go back, like I ask this a lot. I think this is a very pertinent question here though. Like back when the injury happened and back where it was the dark moments, you're now where you are, where everything's going really, really, really well. A lot of things are going really well. And I realize there's dark spots and everything, but like looking at the whole picture and where you came from and so forth, everything's going so good in so many ways. What would you say to yourself, man? What would you say to yourself for people that are in that hole? What would you have said to yourself now if you could go to that hospital room?
I probably wouldn't, it probably wouldn't have much effect on me if I said it at the hospital, considering I was only there for like 3 days before they kicked me out. Plus, probably wasn't in the right mental state for any of it to stick. But I would say that probably just number one, there's absolutely no reason to be angry, but it is okay to be angry. To be okay with it, to be okay with what's going on. Let's see, and then just, I don't know, it's to not be angry. Well, that there's no reason to be angry, and that it's okay to be angry, and then also to just believe in yourself. But it's hard just because us and others, we program ourselves to be a certain way as we shape ourselves throughout our lives. Well, to be 27 years already in one way, to then now have everything I do involving two hands to be taken from you, and so I don't know, like I think my biggest one would just to be that it's okay to be angry.
All right, here's one for you after anger. That was such a serious question. Well, this is serious too, man. Is like, are you ever going to settle? This was not my question, by the way. This probably comes from your nude. This comes from your nude photo shoot for sure. Somebody liked your nude photo. I think we got a lot of pervs in this world, man, and they need to chill out. They need to not hit my DMs with the messages for you. Like when we put it out there. But they did. I did get a question. I thought this was reasonable. Is that, are you ever going to settle down with like somebody? You know what I mean? Like, are you gonna do that?
Singular or plural?
That's a good question. I mean, we are close to Utah, so I guess we can do whatever we want. You know what I mean? Like it's.
No, I don't stray away from it. I just am very well in tune with what I do not need in my life and what does not work with my life. So trust me, there's plenty of times where like I'll see single moms or I'll just see someone who would fit me well, but it doesn't fit my daughter. So there's no let's shape and mold someone to fit us or to settle and be at like a 80% and be okay with life. I don't want that. So I will cut the head off right then and there, for whatever reasons, and I make sure it's known that this is not you. You are a great person, but like I just don't believe in things. You should have to make things work, but I shouldn't have to shape and mold a person to be something that I like. And I'm still going through it so much that a lot of it probably has to do with me too, as far as why like the girls don't work. And it's not like I'm running through girls or partners. I just, like I would rather not waste time.
So the answer is no. It's no.
I actually, I've been thinking about this a lot.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're good. And wondering how it would play off, but like I do not feel like I am meant to, at least for right now, to just be with one person. Like, and again, I'm not, and this isn't for anyone. I could care less what people think. They're gonna think what they want anyways. But I'm not like running through this or running through that. Like I don't have hoes. A lot of people think I have like plenty of girls, and I'm like, because I'm friends with girls. Like I would rather be a good friend to a girl, even if there is sexual attraction, and not ever go that route, than to go that route and then, all right, cool, peace out, we're no longer friends, because that's what it would come to. Like, I don't know, my friends make fun of me. They basically, there's like a picture on the internet of a girl, an old cave woman with a club, and she's basically dragging the dude. Like, to get me, you basically, like, even if you like me and you tell me you like me, you would still have to like hit me over the head, knock me out, and then drag me to bed. Like, I don't know. I would just rather go run or go hiking. Like,
yeah. I do.
It's less turbulence up here. Like,
yeah, man. There's something beautiful about the movement, man. There's something. Okay. You know what? I can't let you go without this one. You talk about this, man. You've talked about this a little bit. You say you have You Adapt, and the whole adaptive side of what you do with You Adapt is also the universality of it, meaning that it's universal. The condition's universal. We all adapt in some way. Can you speak a little bit about that? You talked a little bit about like that whole idea and the mind and so forth.
Yeah. For me, You Adapt, I started it because I just wanted it to another way. So one of the biggest things a lot of people don't know is it's not what you know, it's who you know. Some people are taught that. Some people get it. Some people just don't. You can be the smartest person in the world, but if no one wants to hear you, you're nobody. As far as that's concerned, you're nobody. You have to somewhat play a part in things, or at least know someone. So for me, I wanted another way to, originally I started it so that way it would help create funds so that way I could travel and compete. Mm-hmm. To also, not necessarily just to raise awareness, but to experience life and to raise awareness, to build my following, because the bigger my following, the bigger following I have to put out for other people's things. So it served its purpose. It paid for everything. For just 1 year of selling shirts paid for me to travel for a year and a half to different comps around the world. So it did its purpose, and it did everything I wanted it to, and then I started working, so then there was no longer a need for me to benefit from the money. Now it's somewhat, I haven't put out merch in almost 2 years just because somewhat of fear. I don't want it to become a business to where I treat it like a business. For me right now, it's fun and it has a purpose. And I personally, I mean, this isn't to everyone, but nonprofit doesn't make you any less of a pirate than some other profits. Some of the biggest pirates in this world, in this organization, Adaptive Community, are nonprofits. There are some nonprofits that literally do not take money from anyone, and it is an actual nonprofit. They don't. You come to an event, they don't charge you. They don't make money off you. They don't use you for anything, and that's fine. And then there's other people where they do have to make money, and that's fine too. It's just be upfront and be honest. A lot of these places, they're not. Some of these places don't even have 501c3s. Like, so. I don't know. I believe in helping people, and I don't want to do this for money. And I think it's a shame, me personally, that some of these people are doing it for money. Like the things that I do and the content that I put out, and when I meet people, I literally fly to other cities to race with people because they would love to race with me, and I have no personal gain. I don't need another medal. I don't need another shirt. Like I have hundreds. I want to use my gift to help change lives. I don't want to make money off of my gift. As long as I'm fed and as long as she's fed and happy, I don't need anything more.
You talked about events. This is a question that came from somebody else. What's an event that's this year that's a can't miss event that hasn't already been canceled by the coronavirus?
I'm still trying to find someone to put me on for Boston or actually, you know what? I don't think Boston or the NYC marathons.
Yep.
And
if they were going to race with you, or not even race, it could be just a competition. It could be a CrossFit, any competition on earth. What's the one where people could actually catch up with you and hang with you?
It's hard to say right now. Well, 'cause you know me, I don't think that far ahead.
Do I?
Well, because everything's being canceled, and honestly, I think rightfully so. But everything's being canceled, so I think the only thing that I could say right now is a Tough Mudder event or a Spartan event.
Yep.
Mid or late. Honestly, if this stuff's still spreading, I would say that a lot of things are going to be shut down until later this year.
Yep. Probably midsummer, maybe.
Yeah, if we're lucky, because you figure, we're not scientists, but I would imagine heat wouldn't help nothing.
Yeah, somebody was like asking me like how my foot bends like degrees, and I'm like, I think 480, and they're like, what? And I'm like, dude, I don't do math, dickhead. Like, you put me on a spot like that. Like, I don't do that. Like this.
Yeah, you don't have one of those doctor things that.
Yeah, come on, man. Like, what kind of question is that, man? Like, what kind of degrees do you get? Like, what? All right.
Yeah. Well, to touch back on, if we could, the you adapt thing, that's for everyone. Mm-hmm. Everyone is adaptive. Some people choose to adapt a lot less than others, but everyone is adaptive. And I think that if you were to talk to any adaptive athlete, anyone who is adaptive, not of importance, but like doing things and trying to make a difference, or even just an everyday person who has a challenge, the biggest challenge and obstacle you're ever going to have to deal with in your life is your own mind.
Yeah.
And I don't care if, people tell me they stub their toes, and I'm like, and they're like, what do you mean, like you cut off your arm? And I was like, yeah, well, I mean, I've been at the point for 2-3 years where if you stub your toe, I feel more sorry for you than you feel sorry for me. Like, I mean, it's an arm, it's an appendage, it's a limb, it's gone. To me, it's not that big a deal. Everything else is still here. I'm still working. My life is 100 times better now, 1,000 times better now without the arm than it ever was with the arm. My problems are no more worse and no more challenging now than they were before. Being a single dad with one arm, didn't do it with two arms. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not adapting. When it comes to working out, I'm not adapting because I never worked out before. So I'm not having to relearn anything. I'm not having to adapt anything. I do things differently than you, but if you're going to go as far as that, that's to say that girls and guys, when they're working out, girls are adapting to the guys' workout because their requirements, their RX is lower. Guys are typically 135, girls are, 95 for CrossFit. So, I don't know. I think we should all just be thankful for our accomplishments and realize that they are accomplishments. You doing a mile in 7 minutes versus me doing it in 5 minutes does not mean anything. Yes, I'm faster if we were to race against each other, but the feat is still here for both of us. Like, I don't know.
It's a beautiful message, man. It is. You've kind of carried a lot of us in a lot of ways. I definitely motivated me. I mean, I don't think I would have jumped into OCRs if I didn't talk to you. It was a big motivating factor. I mean, you were a champ in a team, but you'd be a champ in the individual, I believe. And so, like, if you wanted it, like, that's the thing. Do you want it? Like, maybe you're onto something new. Like, you're not confined to one sport, one activity. So, like, it's been really motivating to be around you. And a lot of people point to you as that. So, man, that's good that you're the light out there. And you use that term, be the light, a lot. And I agree with you, man. So I appreciate you being here. And, of course, we're going to have you on. In fact, I'm talking to some people outside, a lot of organizations here in the Western U.S. We're trying to get an episode going of, like, yourself and me and a few others that are involved in this, so we can kind of let people know where we're going to be when this when events start to happen again, so people can catch up, and also just let them know there's options out there. There's options to hang, and so we'll just let everybody know what's going on out there. So, man, I appreciate it though. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Want to say bye, Eloise?
Bye-bye.
Remember, go to livingadaptive.com to find previous episodes, show notes, contacts for guests like this guest, links to social media accounts, and a bunch of other good stuff. So go there. Peace.